Hey guys, I was here looking at my tank, having a beer, and I thought it was a good time to give you guys a little video on how to prep for a vacation. So from my past experience, there are a few things you guys should be worrying about when going on vacation. One is somebody gonna be around to be able to take care of your tank? I'm guessing sometimes you don't have somebody that's gonna be able to take care of the tank exactly how you want for you. So this is where testing comes in, and which is the reason for this video. So as you guys can see, the tank is okay, but as of now, I am going to pretend as if this is you going on a vacation, pretend that you are going on a vacation and you're not there. So what is your tank consuming? What does it need? Do you have a doser? All those things come into play. So in this case, obviously, I wouldn't say there's an extremely amount of corals in here, but there is quite a bit of corals in here, and obviously we consume calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, and whatnot. So in my experience, in my past experience, I have actually lost a tank because there was not enough prep done before leaving. So the only reason that it actually made my tank crash was because one of my cats decided to disconnect one of the main power source for a 20-gallon tank, and so obviously it no flow, and I had an emanate in there, and so I'm pretty sure it just nuked the tank. Now it doesn't take much for your tank to crash, so let's just get into a few things you can do to prep. So obviously calcium, alkalinity, magnesium. So what's taking care of your calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, the big three? So in my case, I am actually, for calcium, I am using those C-Lab 28 blocks. Now that block usually lasts me about a week. So let's say you're gonna leave for maybe a week and a half or so. So what do you do in that situation there? So what I would do is I would add 1.5. So that should give me through the 1.5 weeks for calcium, alkalinity. So now, obviously, it all depends on what you're using to dose alkalinity, and if you're doing manual doses, then obviously you might need to look into a doser. In my case here, I'm only using soda ash in my ATO, so I have to worry about how long, or how big of a container do I need for that to last me up until that time. So in this case, I do have a 13-gallon trash bin that I use currently for my alkalinity. Obviously we have I have tested it. I have, I write down where the water level is, and it usually is about a week and maybe a day or so. So if you were gonna be gone longer than that, then you would maybe want to consider a bigger trash can or a bigger container for you to be able to dose more. Obviously, it all depends on how much evaporation you have. You have to test that and do testing yourself. Now for magnesium. So in my case, see that Stony Lab 500 mil. I have some markings on there which are fading now, but that will last me about 3 days. Now obviously that was me doing it manually. I have just bought a Simplicity auto doser, a forehead, which I'm not gonna show at the moment, but it's just going over what to use and how to prep. So for magnesium, you would take, for instance, in my case, I knew that the whole thing lasted me 3 days, and I had some markings on there. So what I did is I measured how much magnesium is in that, and I divided it by 3, and then that will give me a total of how many milliliters to dose on a daily basis. So that's what I did for my magnesium. Now it is a forehead. I will be adding more stuff in the future. I will be adding obviously phytoplankton, and I'm considering maybe mixing up a concoction of my manganese and a potassium. I don't know if we can put those together. I will have to look around, obviously, but I just wanted to get a forehead doser just in case. I wanted to maybe dose a few more things, and it just gives me a little bit more wiggle room and more time away from my tank if I really wanted to. Okay, so calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, right? So now it's testing, right? Testing to making sure that everything is gonna work out for you. So in my case, let's say I'm gonna leave maybe 10 days or so, right? So I will need to do a test 10 days, pretending I'm away from the tank. I'm not touching the tank, I'm not doing anything, just letting it be. The only thing I am doing is testing, because I want to know if I need to adjust for calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium. Obviously, if you're dosing your calcium, then you would just do the math how much you're already dosing at the moment, and then obviously add it to the doser. But in my case, I'm only using that, right? So I'm only using the C-Lab 28 blocks, and you can see in there I added the other half. So this is just me testing to make sure that it will last me the 10 days or so. So now I know for a fact that my alkalinity, or my auto top off with the soda ash, does last me roughly 10 days. So then I'm okay in that sense, right? But then we got the calcium, alkalinity, magnesium. So now we go into, well, what happens if the power goes out, right? So if the power does go out, then you would need something like a battery backup. Now obviously we got the we have the Ecotech, I forget what they call the battery backups, but we have different I obviously don't want to pay too much for that, so I went ahead and I rigged my own. We'll show you guys that in a future video. Right now I just wanted to get you guys, maybe just talk about it a little bit, and maybe you guys can tell me, what do you guys do? What do you guys do to prep for vacations? This is pretty much what I do. So like I said, testing, pretending you're already gone while you're still here. I have found that to be the most effective way to make sure that even if you are gonna have somebody to come over, right? Maybe feeding or so, which brings me to my next topic there. But making sure, or testing to see if you're gonna be able to make it those the time away from your tank, with that week or 2 weeks or whatever you're thinking about doing. But testing, right? Test every day, making sure, pretend you're gone. I can't stress that enough. Pretend you're gone. Make sure you're doing everything you can to make sure that the tank is working out as it's supposed to, as if you were doing it yourself. But with the added benefit of you're not putting your hands in the tank, you're not doing anything other than testing, experimenting to see, hey, your magnesium going a little bit low, then we gotta adjust, right? Maybe add a little bit more if you're depending on where you like keeping your levels, obviously. But you get my point, right? You guys gotta be able to test, make sure that you guys know how much you're putting. Don't obviously do not try to, raise anything too fast. We all know that that's how we get STN and RTN, right? STN and what was the other one? Low tissue necrosis and fast, right? So you guys get it. So then this comes, right, like my next thing, right? So normally this is what I keep, right? See, I have one automatic feeder that feeds pellets to my tank 4 times a day, and it keeps my fishes happy, right? But then, see, this is what I would do myself. I would add nori clips to those, and then let the tanks, right, go to town, because obviously we all know that tanks, they love to eat. So I got another one there in the back there, and that one there, it is nori that I cut up into tiny squares. I added what I would add in 10 days into that container, and I would just pretend that I'm not there, feed them, see how much is going into the tank. Obviously, if it's too much, maybe slow it down. Do not add too much of that water, or close the gap there where it normally spills over in the tank. If you guys don't know what I mean that little where is it there? Let me see this camera. See that little hole there? That's how much food is allowed to go through. I can always move this forward and then allow more of the food to go in, but then I don't do that. This feeder in particular actually allows me to add a few times. So it allows me to how many times it wants to spin or not. So I got it to spin twice every feeding, and that it throws just enough for all the fish to stay happy, right, without causing any problem for my tank and getting any type of crazy algae growing everywhere. We have algae. We have some red type of turf algae that I've just, ever since the other tank, I've never been able to get rid of it. And to be honest, I don't even try. But we do got a lot of coralline algae in the tank. But if you pay attention, we have some of that red turf algae, in some sections. Anyhow, so feeding, right? We gotta know or make sure that they're getting enough food. We don't want the fish start being aggressive towards the other because the food is scarce, and we just trying to keep all the fish happy, and obviously the corals, right? So usually I feed the corals. In this case, maybe that's not a good idea, right? I'm not gonna be here to be cleaning the filter and whatnot, so maybe consider that. But then this is why it's important to I'm gonna let the tank run. Let's see how the filter will do. Let's see how much it can put up with without causing any crazy algae or whatnot. You don't want to overfeed. We all know that stability is key for your reef tanks. Anyhow, yeah, it's gotten a little bit long for this video. Hope you guys enjoy the little bit I know and the little bit of knowledge I can share with you guys. I've only been doing this for 2 years, but I have made a lot of mistakes, and so now I know. See, I've been on a few vacations since I had this tank, and prior to that, right, I would go on vacation, but I will go maybe a few times a year, and then so guess what happens? I will have to leave the tank alone, and so I have had to learn quick, right? So anyhow, hope you guys are all doing great. Happy Friday. Have a beer, look at your tank, test, and enjoy. Happy reefing, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Now, you guys don't have to, but just help me out a little bit. Obviously, we don't have a lot of subscribers on this channel, and I don't post too much anyways, but it'd be nice to see if people are interested, or let me know that maybe I should continue. Alright, guys. Hope that helped you guys out a little bit. You guys have anything else, any questions, please post them in the comments, and maybe I can answer that for you, including anything related to the video or another video, or whatever question you guys got, right? Hope you guys enjoy. my tank and me talking over this freaking video, but there we go. Happy reefing, guys. Bye.